connecting to the internet.
Internet.
Networking software.
World Wide Web thing on a computer today.
Computer.
NetSurfer Pro.
Hey, it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Oh my god, how did you get so old?
Well, you see, on the internet I can stay current and relevant, but when I don't have access, I age very fast.
Okay, you factually had access to the internet. I've seen you tweet.
Oh, I did that through carrier pigeon. Like in the old days. I wouldn't expect a Zoomer like you to understand, but in the year 2004, all communication was done through carrier pigeon.
That's 1990 and 2004. That's a very long... That's like over a million years.
Yes, like Billy Pilgrim, I've been unstuck in time, actually. I think it was Billy Pilgrim from Slaughterhouse 5.
No, you're thinking of June or John Egbert, depending on canon, from Homestuck, who's been homestuck in time.
Oh, yes, you're right. Hang on, let me go unstuck backwards, forwards in time to a time where my voice was normal. Whoo! All right, my voice is normal again.
Good, you were starting to lose it a little. I was worried he wouldn't be able to keep up the character.
Yeah, one of these days we'll have to do an entire episode in character, of course.
An entire episode.
Yeah, it's basically us, preparing for when we're guests on Comedy Bang Bang.
Yeah. That's famously why I've been introducing more characters like Johnny Michaels and Ride Operator Bane. Hey, you got it right that time.
Hey.
Yeah, so this is sort of an emergency Talksurfer show, but also not really an emergency. It's just, we're going to go into regular topics in a sec.
This is as much of an emergency as, like, Emergency, the orange drink that has like vitamin C in it.
Yeah, that you like take on airplanes.
Yeah, it's not a real like things are terrible emergency. This is just we needed something now.
Yeah, it's the song "Emergency" by Operation Ivy. Do they do the song "Emergency"? Anyways, So, essentially, I got some computer part upgrades for Christmas. But there was a problem with the drivers when I installed my new motherboard, and so I was out of a computer for a few weeks while I was getting it checked out and repaired. I had no idea what was wrong with it until roughly a week ago. So I wasn't able to stream, wasn't able to record and edit podcast-related activities. But that is hopefully all taken care of and back to normal.
Yes. It's a little disappointing. Not as in the problem happening, not Matthew. But
thank you.
It's a little disappointing because we had episodes that were like really good and were like really timely.
Yeah.
Specifically the Net Surfies, of course.
Yeah.
But we're here now, and so those episodes will be coming back, but to give something that we can put out now that won't take Matthew a long time to edit, we decided to do just sort of a little emergency Talksurfer.
A quick one, we do have a few topics, hopefully it won't take too long though, but yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way, and yeah, the Net Surfies are going to be next, and there's a possible two-parter episode we have working on that we recorded the first half back in like November.
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
Yes. So, let's just go straight into it.
Yeah. I'm going to start off with a formal complaint against Galen here.
Yes.
You and your gaggle of friends, none of them listen to this podcast, I can call it that, have given me the Civ 6 bug.
Yes.
You've bitten me right on the arm.
Yes. This was the real long-term goal of the whole, introducing you to the friend group. It was all to make the Civ 6 bug infect you.
What a shitty con.
I know. It was really long-term and it wasn't worth it, and I didn't even make money off of it.
Yeah, I've been playing Civilization 6. It's a good game.
It's very good. It's a very fun strategy game, very fun 4X game.
I like the difference in all the different leaders. I feel like that's always been something Civ has done well. and I think it's still doing that quite well. You know, it's even still like pretty actively getting new leaders introduced to the game with new updates.
Yeah, we were like basically just past wave 1 and now on wave 2, which kicked off with an entirely leader focused update, which as is seemingly tradition with Civ, broke a couple of civs.
Oops.
So for example, I don't remember the name of the civilization. Their leader was Vemba Azinga. And the whole thing was that his ability was you can't start a religion, but you get like all of the bonuses of all the religions on the field, as so long as they have a presence in one of your cities. And it was balanced because the rest of him was honestly kind of like the rest of the civilization was kind of insane. Like the rest of the civilization had really good bonuses. And now they've introduced a new leader that I think has penalties for religion, but doesn't make you not able to form a religion, which kind of breaks them, because the whole thing was that they were balanced around not having a religion. And they're very good now.
The atheist build.
Yeah.
Enlightened atheist.
Exactly the opposite, actually.
Pantheist
build. You worship one god?
I worship every god. And then some. Yeah. See, I have no frame of reference for what was good and is bad, or what was bad and now is good, or any sort of brokenness.
Yeah.
Because I started playing with this current patch.
Yeah. I think it's something where you'll kind of pick up on it as you go, but every Civ is very much... Every Civ can win. There are just things that are more viable than others.
Yeah, that's how a lot of games are, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have much else to say. It's been a fun learning experience, because it's been forever since I played a Civ game prior to this. So, like, you know, getting used to sort of the pacing of everything, trying to remember, like, there's some ways that Civ is a very atypical strategy game. Like, the fact that builders don't really do anything early game, whereas, like, in most strategy games, you get your builders to build up things for your econ.
Yeah.
You know, but all of that is just works really differently in Civ, or at least in Civ 6.
Yeah. I started playing with Civ 5, which I think a lot of people did. Every new iteration kind of is more popular than the last one, and so I can talk about the differences. I won't talk about them a whole lot, but I honestly think comparing the two, Civ 6 is probably just sort of the best iteration it's been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that there's like really long-term fans who might have an issue with that, who would be like, no, Civ 3 is obviously the best because it has an actual government system, that sort of thing. But like, Civ 5 to Civ 6 it's a very different game, but all of the changes, I think, just make it better. Like, districts weren't a thing in the original one, and so it was very easy to just have one city and build really, really tall, rather than really, really wide. And you can build taller than wide in Civ 6, that's still a valid strategy, but it forces you to think about extra cities as more than just, like, a burden.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that, like you said, builders are actually an expendable resource in 6. Not so in 5, because, one builder could theoretically build everything, which, on one hand, meant that, if you had one builder, you could basically kit out your entire empire. On the other hand, meant that come, later into the game, you're just going to have, like, 3 builders doing nothing.
Just chilling around.
Yeah, just kind of
whistling
working.
Their thumbs.
Yep, whistling their thumbs, twiddling their voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also do know that in Civ 6, they finally kind of had an idea for maybe how you win with culture, which I feel like has been their, like, I don't know, problem.
Yeah, so tourism was introduced in 5, but tourism was introduced in the last patch, the last DLC, Brave New World. And it works well there, but I think it really comes into its own in 6, because there's sort of... The biggest thing with 6 is that every WinCon has its own game piece. Like, culture was very passive, ultimately, in 5. Even if you were actively building tourism, it's still just you're building tourism. I said I wasn't going to talk about this long. I'll make this brief. Whereas in 5, you are still passively building tourism, but you have a lot of active pieces. Or in 6,
yeah,
yes.
it's like you have like rock bands
Yeah.
that you can travel to different cities with as an active way of like microing to further your thing.
Yeah, you have a lot of like artifacts, like songs and paintings and stuff that you have to sort of like kit out for various
There's
different
like
things.
there's like a set collection mini game.
Yeah.
Or like with religion, there's like this whole holy warfare mechanic.
Yes.
That really makes me not want to play religion just because it's kind of a nightmare to constantly micro these things.
Yeah, it's I love religion. As somebody who always tries to build religion, even if it doesn't benefit me all that much, the microing of religion is just sort of an extra step on top that I'm like, oh boy.
You heard it here first. Galen loves religion.
I love religion. I'm all about that religion.
No devil.
No.
All right.
But yeah. Civ 6, it's worth its own deeper explanation, but honestly, if you're looking to get into a Civ game, it is much more beginner-friendly than earlier iterations, and it's also probably the best one.
It's time for a new segment.
Oh my god, a new segment?
Okay, so this is a segment called Don't Call It a Meme Back. You can call it a different thing, but don't call it that.
Of course.
Just that's all I ask. This is for, it's like the opposite of a state of the meme. This is for older memes that we may have missed when they were first, impactful, but I think are still worth talking about.
Yeah.
The first one I really want to talk about is Atomic Bomb versus Coughing Baby.
Yes.
Which was like just off. Okay, so future spoilers for future content, but there's the Net Surfies, we do our meme of the year, and we also did a bracket for meme of the year.
Yeah.
Where we determined what the top 5 were. And that will be a video coming later down the line after the Net Surfies proper. And Atomic Bomb versus Coughing Baby just barely didn't make the cut for the bracket. And so I do want to give it sort of an honorary mention here. Honorary honorable mention. I just think this is so funny. Because, like, I think it was, like, the loudest sounds was the original context.
Yeah.
But the scale of, like, the scale suggested of an atomic bomb versus a coughing baby, it's like literally throwing the baby with the bathwater, but it's just like the hugest like way of solving a problem, quote unquote, of killing a baby. And then also every time I think about it, I think about epic rap battles.
Yes. Yeah. I think it really plays to the like epic rap battle sort of absurdity of like, like the guy from Squid Games versus Mr. Beast who did Squid Games, which is sort of now becoming its own YTVMV.
Yeah, it's a YTVMV
source.
sample.
But yeah, like
shout out to Barack Obama.
But like, yeah, it's funny out of context. It's it's a kind of alright. It's a pretty funny joke in context that becomes infinitely funnier just sort of presented on its own without context. And that's sort of like a big tenet of memes that get big. This one was not to make a joke or anything, a bit of a flash in the pan, if you will. a bit of a flash in ground zero.
I also have to just say that like I'm a big fan of joke death battle type stuff, like shitpost combat.
Yes.
Like the Octillion Lions versus every Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I feel like this fits into that really well as well.
1 billion lions versus the sun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just sort of, I feel like State of the Meme works best when there is sort of an underlying layer, and Atomic Bomb versus Coughing Baby doesn't exactly have that. It's just sort of really funny on the face of it.
Mm-hmm. And
so, yeah.
Yeah. The next one is one that I just really want to shout out because it's been infecting our online friend group.
So it is I believe a TikTok that begins with the phrase "you, me, gas station." And I can read it out all here if you want me to.
Sure. All right.
Scene
Introducing Galen's performance of You, Me, Gas Station. And a 1 and a 2 and a...
You, me, gas station. What are we getting for dinner? Sushi, of course. Uh-oh, there was a roofie inside of our gas station sushi. We black out and wake up in a sewer. We're surrounded by fish. Horny fish. You know what that means. Fish orgy. The stench draws in a bear. What are we gonna do? We're gonna fight it. Bear fight, bare-handed, bare naked? Oh yes, please. We befriend the bear after we beat it in a brawl. Then we ride into Chuck E. Cheese, dance, revolution. Revolution? Overthrow the government? I think so. Next thing you know, I'm reincarnated as Jesus Christ. Then I turn into a jet, fly into the sun, black out again, wake up, do a bump, white out, which I didn't know you could do. Then I smoked a joint, greened out, then I turned into the sun, and looks like the meth is kicking in.
Okay, so getting something out of the way, it does kind of rip off Like a Boss by The Lonely Island towards the end there.
Yeah.
With the turn into a jet, bomb the Russians. Remember
Oh
that?
my god.
Flying
yeah.
to the sun.
Flying to the sun. Now I'm dead like a boss.
Shoutouts to 2 years ago when we did our Lonely Jill Island
Yes.
segment. How time flies, much like a jet. But I love shitty word association like that.
Yeah.
Of it just like, it keeps going and it's only vaguely related to the previous sentence.
It's, yeah.
Like the dance revolution part. It's like, what?
I love the like doing sushi into being surrounded by fish is very good.
Also, yeah, there's a lot of good wordplay. There's roofie in a gas station sushi.
Yeah.
There's beat the bear in a brawl.
Yeah.
It's well written. The video itself is pretty funny because it's like a guy talking to like his girlfriend, and it just keeps going.
It's oh man, it's
yeah.
the purest form of enjoyment of like I can't express any more enjoyment other than just what it is. You see on the face of it why it's funny or why it isn't to you, and that's all I can say. It's really funny.
And I think the version of it as a Google form is made it even better.
God, yes. Oh man, look up Yumi gas station Google form if you have, a minute to spare.
And you're unconvinced or very convinced of the humor of the situation here. Yeah. All right. It's coming down from that funny haha.
Why don't we smoke a joint and green out into something new?
All right, it's time for a marathon segment here.
Oh God, I'm out of shape.
So I play a lot of video games, obviously, but I've been playing a lot of the survivor type genre, as sort of coined and founded by vampire survivors. There's so many of these that I have played, and I need to just talk about them, or else my head will explode.
Yeah.
Like a soda can.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here's just a quick rundown of all of these Survivor type games I've played, and just a quick sentence on each of them. Alright, Vampire Survivors. First one, still really fun. Love the feel and the aesthetics of it. Really cool attacks. I'm at the point where it's too easy and I wish I could reset my progress or start a new save file.
Yep.
20 minutes till dawn. This had some really weird issues with my controller for a while where the aiming and the choosing things in the menus were messed up and I kept having problems. I like the weapon combos with some of the characters. Some of the weapons feel useless. Some of the characters feel useless. Brotato. All the stat changes are super granular where it's really hard to tell whether or not the change actually made a difference until you're like 10 waves in.
Nice.
It's like you get a range of plus 10 or you get a speed of plus 3%. But what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's very, very tiny changes that you're slowly adding. But I do like the sort of Newgrounds aesthetic. Barbarian, I don't like this Newgrounds aesthetic. It's really slow. It reminds me of like Castle Crashers, but not the good parts of Castle Crashers. It just does not feel fun to play. Everything feels kind of just clunky in a way that feels more like a browser-based game. Soulstone Survivor. it has all these crafting resources that don't do anything right now. You should probably like temper or pace your development so that you put in the crafting materials when you add the thing they craft into. But right now I'm getting a ton of bullshit I don't need. But it is the 3D one, and so it has a different aesthetic than all of these others because it looks like Path of Exile.
Nice.
Survivor.io, it's a mobile game. It's a very mobile game. It has a lot of mobile game systems. It's kind of fun if you get past the mobile game systems, but they're pretty shitty. Yeah, so, just don't spend any money on it. Bone Razor Minions. Not a fan of the fact that there is a diaper weapon. But it's a better summoner-based survivor game than Barbarian. I think the characters are really cool. There's some really unique ones, along with some that are just like slightly better at one part of the game. I like the art style. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Just King is a worse summoner-based survivor than the other two. Snaker X came out before Vampire Survivors, and it's kind of like that, kind of like Auto Chess. It has the Auto Chess, like, unit faction system and cooldown system. You move a little snake around. It's pretty good. Rogue Genasia has a option to have a Slay the Spire type dungeon tree instead of the survivor mode, and I think it's more balanced around that mode than the survivor mode. It has the like Octopath tilt shift art style, which is pretty sweet. Some of the upgrades are really cool. I just think as it is, it's kind of repetitive after the first run or two. And finally, the last one I've played, HoloCure, the HoloLive fan game one. I think the fact that every character has like 10 unique items or weapons to them is really neat and gives the characters a lot of character, for lack of a better word. Some of the fusions were cool. It just, you can see like where the dev time went to. It very much went to the characters and not to the like map or the enemies, which is fine, but it got kind of old.
And time. I think that might be world. I think that's definitely PB. That might be world record of most survivor type games talked about in approximately 5 minutes.
All right, someone call Guinness. They'll do anything for $10.
Yeah. Your mother is very proud, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So the last little thing, and this is just another little thing, but this is kind of a sneak preview. A sneak peek and or preview. A sneaky preview.
A sneaky preaky.
A cheeky breaky.
Mm-hmm.
So...
A reeky tiki?
A ricky ticky tabby?
Mm-hmm.
So... I have this project that I'm wanting to do that I think is going to become an episode of Net Surfer Pro first before it becomes like a YouTube video. I want to have a definitive canon of vines. Vines, I think, shaped specifically like our generation of like the middle, like zillennials, like the middle ground of millennial to Zoomer humor.
I don't know. I think Vines were definitely more Zoomer. I mean, I would say my humor was shaped by like YouTube poops and Homestar Runner.
That's fair.
I personally like completely was plugged out of Vine.
You know what? That's fair.
There's some interesting like context for me, who's really only gotten Vine secondhand posthumously.
Yeah. See, that's the interesting thing is that like I was not on Vine, but I mostly picked up things like, Vine humor bits from posthumous, like, people reposting them and or, like, compilations and stuff. And so, like, so many Vines are kind of, like, standard, like, joke formats now that I sort of want to compile the biggest ones, the, like, top 20 or what have you.
Yeah, It's gonna be... So, the thing about any canon is that it has bias.
Yes, of
So,
course.
let's just get that out of the way. This is going to be biased. Not in the, like, political bias way, but kind of. But also just, like, these are things we have experienced. We don't know what we don't know.
Exactly, yeah. There are certain Vines that I personally liked more, and so obviously I would have a bias towards those ones and probably not towards other ones.
Things not being in a canon is a start to a discussion rather than an end to a discussion.
Yes. But for some examples of what would probably go on it, or at least what would be in the running, we have things like Road Work Ahead. I sure hope it does. Comically Large Spoon, which broke out of Vine into sort of wider culture.
And always reminds me of Don Hertzfeldt.
Free Shavakadu.
Which always sounds like Simlish.
Yes. Look at All Those Chickens, which is... I'm almost... If anything on this list is going to be part of the actual canon, it's that. Like, that is something that I, to this day, still say.
Mm-hmm.
Watermelon, the Watermelon saga from... Oh, God, I don't remember his name.
Oh, no.
Big Time Rush, which is to say bruh, come on, we're gonna be late. Bruh, chill. Why are you in such a big time rush? That one might just be me liking it more than it being a canon, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
When Your Dog Eats, the Gabriel Glendecker Vine of Dick Cheney made money off the Iraq War. Which then spawned, of course, the wonderful follow-up of When Your Human Eats. PETA kills thousands of dogs every day, or whatever it was.
PETA kills 80% of the dogs they take in.
Yeah. Look at the buns on that guy, which I bring up mostly because that was a Leo Vader Vine, the only one that really went viral.
Huh.
Peepus Room,
which has been immortalized in Deltarune.
Yes. Oh man, Peepus Room. I wanted to be bigger than it was at the time. Like, I loved Peepus Room when it was fresh, and I'm so happy that Toby Deltarune has immortalized that. And the final little example I have is it's Saturday. I got my hat on backwards, and it's time to party. Thunk. So yeah, that's... This would not be the entire episode of just me, like, reading out vines. I would definitely be talking about, like, why I think they deserve to be in the canon, or why they were at least in the running. But that's just sort of that's the level that you're supposed to be thinking of when I'm thinking of canon. There's a dog, so if you hear any background noise, it's a dog.
It's a dog.
It's a dog.
It's a dog.
The dog is wanting attention, which I think is our sign to actually log off.
Yeah, go log off, King.
Yeah, go touch grass.
Go touch grass. As always, you can follow us on NetSurfer, or you can follow NetSurfer Pro on any podcasting platform you like. Give us a comment, give us a rating, give us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if there's anything you think we should cover or check out otherwise. You can follow me on Twitter at Twackaroo, at TWAKAROO, and...
you can follow me on Twitter and on TikTok at Galen Wilson. That's at GALENWLS0N. You can also find me on Tumblr at galenwilson.tumblr.com. That's just Galen Wilson, no zeros or anything. You can also find me on YouTube at The Only Galen on YouTube, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/machinegunvampire.
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Twack.
But... With that said, thank you very much for listening. We're once again, we will be having the Net Surfies and the bonus episode, which was just a normal episode, but now it's a bonus episode. You're welcome.
And now it is time to catch our breath.